The smell of wet cardboard gets stuck in your clothes after 3 days. You don't notice it anymore, but everyone on the subway does. They leave an open seat on either side of you. They look at their phones, avoiding eye contact, stepping over your feet like an obstacle on the pavement. When you have a single dollar to your name, time doesn't move by hours or days, it moves by meals. You sit on a concrete bench near a fast food dumpster, counting loose change in the palm of your hand. 4 quarters, that gets you a very specific choice, 2 individual hash browns or a single bottle of water to stop your stomach from cramping. You choose the water because it lasts longer. You learn to sleep with your boots tied tightly around your ankles so nobody slips them off while you dream on a park bench. Every noise in the night sounds like a threat. Then someone drops a $10 bill on the sidewalk outside a convenience store. They don't even turn around, they just keep walking. $10 changes the math entirely. For the first time in weeks, you aren't just surviving the next 2 hours. You step inside out of the wind and buy a hot sandwich, a bag of chips, and a cheap pair of cotton socks. Fresh, dry cotton on cold feet feels like a religious experience. You sit on a curb, eating real food while it's still warm, and for 6 hours, that constant, crushing panic in your chest softens just enough for you to breathe. At $100, you buy something you haven't had in months, a door that locks from the inside. You check into a cheap motel that smells like bleach and old smoke. You turn the shower on until the small bathroom fills with steam, and you stand under the hot water for 45 minutes straight, just feeling the grime and salt wash off your skin. You put on a clean shirt from a thrift store. You look in the fogged-up mirror and realize you look like an actual person again. $1,000 buys something even rarer than a hot shower. It buys silence. You sit in a small rented room, open an app on your phone, and pay off the utility bill that had a red notice stamped on it. The looming threat of dark windows vanishes. The phone stops ringing with unknown numbers from debt collectors. You lie back on a mattress you actually own, close your eyes, and sleep through the entire night without waking up once to check the lock on the door. At $10,000, you stop thinking about food altogether. You walk into a grocery store on a Tuesday evening, grab whatever looks good off the shelves, and slide your card without calculating the running total in your head. But more importantly, a sudden problem doesn't ruin your life anymore. When your car's alternator dies on the highway, the mechanic tells you it's going to cost $800. You hand over the card. You walk away annoyed, sure, but not ruined. Your life doesn't derail over a single bad week. When you hit $100,000, the entire psychological framework shifts from surviving the present to building a future. You buy a modest house on a quiet street. You hire contractors to fix the drafty windows and repaint the hallway. You drive a reliable car with leather seats and a warranty that means you never have to open the hood yourself. But something subtle happens here. The sharp panic of missing a meal disappears, replaced by a quiet, lingering anxiety about holding onto what you have. You start checking stock tickers at red lights. You worry about property values, market corrections, and interest rates. At $1 million, work becomes optional in theory, though almost nobody actually stops. You find yourself sitting in a high-rise restaurant, ordering a $400 bottle of wine that you can't quite distinguish from a $50 one. Your social circle shifts entirely. Conversations over dinner revolve around tax shelters, real estate yields, trusts, and local zoning laws. You fly first class. You don't wait in the main security line at the airport. You walk past 200 tired travelers straight into a private lounge with free espresso and quiet seating. $10 million erases normal physical boundaries. You don't fly commercial anymore. The concept feels absurd to you. A private charter sits waiting on a tarmac in Teterboro. You drive your car directly up to the stairs of the aircraft, hand your keys to an attendant, and step aboard without taking off your shoes or showing an ID to a stranger. You land in London 8 hours later without ever standing in a customs line. The world becomes small, smooth, and entirely frictionless. Yet you find yourself looking at people with 100 million, feeling a subtle, irritating sense of inadequacy. At $100 million, you stop buying physical things and start buying time and human labor. You employ a personal chef, a house manager, 2 full-time drivers, and an estate lawyer whose hourly rate could pay a family's rent for half a year. You own 3 separate houses across the globe that you haven't visited in over 12 months. The biggest threat to your daily existence isn't a bad market day, it's litigation, bad press, or a messy high-stakes divorce. At $1 billion, you stop interacting with the real economy altogether. You live inside a custom system designed entirely around your preferences. You decide you want to spend a weekend on an island in the Mediterranean. You don't book a resort, you buy the island outright or hire a 200-foot superyacht with a crew of 24 waiting on standby. You speak to world leaders over private dinners in Geneva. Your casual decisions move entire local economies. If you decide to close a manufacturing plant in Ohio, 5,000 families lose their income by Friday morning while you attend a charity gala in Dubai. You stop viewing money as cash and start viewing it as raw, unadulterated power. At $10 billion, human scale vanishes entirely. You don't buy products or companies, you buy entire industries. You purchase a major social media platform simply because you were annoyed by its content rules. You fund private space companies because the physical boundaries of Earth feel slightly too constrained for your personal ambitions. You exist above the law in almost every practical sense. Government fines aren't punishments to you, they're just transaction fees. Normal human relationships become nearly impossible because every single person who enters your room wants something: funding, access, or protection. Paranoia sets in, isolation becomes absolute. At $100 billion, your net worth moves up or down each day by more than entire developing nations produce in a year. A single casual tweet sent from your phone wipes out $3 billion of market value before lunch, and you don't even check the news to confirm it. You hold more sway over global supply lines, energy production, and satellite networks than most sovereign governments. Prime ministers and presidents line up, waiting 15 minutes outside your office just to pitch a policy proposal. And then there's $1 trillion. At $1 trillion, you do not exist as a human being anymore. You exist as a planetary infrastructure. You own the global supply chains that distribute grain to entire continents. You control the energy grids powering multiple industrialized nations, the submarine data cables carrying human thought, and the orbital defense systems monitoring the lower atmosphere. You can fund the terraforming of a desert region or crash a continent's currency simply by shifting assets out of a regional central bank on a whim. You sit in a temperature-controlled room built deep into the side of a mountain, looking at a digital display detailing global resource distribution. You can buy anything that has ever been manufactured, built, mined, or conceived by human hands in the history of the world. You can hire the finest medical researchers on Earth to edit your genome and extend your lifespan. You can construct monuments out of granite and titanium that will outlast modern civilizations. Yet, as you sit in that quiet, climate-controlled room, staring at a digital ledger with 12 zeros attached to it, a stark reality hits you. The hot water from that motel shower 40 years ago felt just as warm on your skin. The taste of that cheap sandwich on a cold sidewalk when you had $10 in your pocket was just as satisfying. And no amount of money in the known universe can buy back the feeling of sleeping through the night without carrying the weight of the entire world on your shoulders.